Hey, what's going on YouTube? In this video I'm going to show you how to map your home network so you can configure like all your devices with static IP addressing. That's really not the point of the video. The point of those videos is we're going to make a server and we can, like I have a working DHCP server with assigned addresses and everything like that, but to start that, you need to know how to change your home router and configure it so that it doesn't release IP addresses. And also, if you've ever not changed your router and you go into your network settings over here, and you can go to advanced, not advanced, change adapter settings, and you can go to properties. Then you can go over here to your version 4 and then just click on properties, and then you can obtain, like if you set this to use the following IP address and you give it an IP address, chances are you're going to lose your internet. That's just how it is. If you're supposed to get an IP address through DHCP and you go ahead and configure it yourself, you'll just lose your network. So anyways, we're going to cancel this and I'm going to show you how to do it so that you can set your network up statically. So what you want to do is you first of all want to, I guess, figure out what your IP address is for your default gateway. So it should be like your router, and you need to log into that. So you go IP config. You can go all if you want, but for our case we only need IP config. So up here it's going to show you your default gateway, your IP address. Originally mine was this generic 192.168.0.1 type of address. That was my gateway or my router, whatever you want to call it. And now I've took off DHCP and I've set up my LAN network, which is your local area network. So what that means is that's behind your router. So most service providers give you the option to configure your home router. So what you want to do is take that gateway address and just put it into your browser. So I guess I didn't really show you guys, but mine's default gateway is 10.10.10.1. So you just want to type that in to your browser and hit enter. And this is my router now. So now I'm logging into my router. This is the same way you'd log into pretty much any router. You just got to find the IP address. You'll get to this little web interface, and you need your logins and everything. Okay, so this is pretty much the it could change depending on your type of router, but for instance mine's a Cisco DPC 3825 DOCSIS 3.0. Okay, anyways, but yeah, so here we can just browse through the tabs up here. I've seen a lot of routers where their tabs are listed down here on the left. Whatever, you just kind of want to look for basically what I'm looking for, because the terminology throughout networking, it's pretty standard, so it's not going to be called different something on your router. Your tabs up here might be a little differently labeled. But in our case, I want to go to setup. Okay, and in here I can also change my password to log into the router. So this is where you can change that. But I'm curious on LAN setup. So local area network, and then again here, this is telling me I'm setting up my network. So originally this was enabled right here. So DHCP server. So that would give out IP addresses in this range. But what I have done is I've changed these numbers here. Originally they were 192. See, they're already there. 168.0.1 or 0. Oh wait, that's my gateway. So no, yeah, you want to leave it at 1. Okay. So then this at least tells your network, so everything that's inside your house or what you want to have on your network will use 192.168.0.1 as their gateway. See how mine's 10.10.10.1? And then down here you can configure other things. So you can change these numbers here, and as soon as I would hit save, these first numbers will change. It'll match up with my network here. And then you can set up, you don't even have to really do anything. Like, that's just if you want to get technical. But anyways, I just disabled it. And then I entered in 10.10.10.1 as my gateway, and then I just saved it. Okay? And then once that was done, everything was good with my router. So my router was set up. Now, what I have is I have a server that I have installed on my network. It's a physical computer, but I don't have a monitor, so I just remote desktop into it. And what I do now is I can turn this thing on. So it's called Technology Domain Controller 01. And I'm going to log in with my administrative passwords. Just give it a second to load up here. I've already configured everything and everything's set up already for my network, but I just want to give you a brief description on how it's set up and actually what I'm able to do with it. So I also have another server. This is just a virtual machine. So actually I gotta start that up. Okay, turn this bad boy on. And I also have a Windows 7 client that I use to test with. I can even use my host PC, which is the PC I'm using to record this video with. But I don't like to put this thing on the network, so it's still getting its IP address from my server here, from this server here. And oh, I turned on the wrong one, didn't I? Okay, it might lag out a little bit here. I'm turning on like 3 computers on my computer. But anyways, those are all turning on now, so I'm just gonna close this. I gotta wait for it to load before I can close it. Alright, but anyways, this is my server. So I have Active Directory domain servers, I have a DHCP and a DNS server installed. And if I really want to check things out, I can show you my scope here. So my DHCP, scope, address leases. So here's the computers that are on my network. Like my girlfriend had her friend over to study yesterday on her wireless computer, and she just came over. I gave her my my wireless key so she can access the network, and she received an IP address in a range that I predicted. And I can see here my scope, if you want to go to properties of it. The start IP address 10.10.10.50 all the way up to 100. You know, their duration of their lease is 8 days. That's just default. And then my DNS dynamic, so it's going to update an A record to my DNS server, which is over here. And you can see here, get my forward lookups, acknowledge, and there's some A records there. Okay. And then I've set up a reservation for my file server, which is this guy here, as soon as he loads up. Okay, so I'm going to close out of VMware because it's a little laggy. And they are running, so as I can see down here, I got my 2 VMwares running, but I just prefer to remote into them. So I can remote desktop. And there's my little some group policy. You know, this is secure network. You'll be terminated if you enter. And this is my file server. And what I've done with this thing is I've set up a share. So all my users that I want to have a home folder and like a personal oh sorry, this is their personal drive. So when I have a user who logs in and I want them to have like a personal drive, if they're in a group that allows the personal drive, then they'll have like a share that they can save to. And so, for instance, I got these two users. This is just their stuff that's in their personal drive. I'll show you that in a second. And then I've set up another share for the network where we'll have all of our documents per department. So if you're in the human resources department, you'll be able to access this folder and, you know, read, and depending on your group membership, you'll even be able to save to this folder and whatnot. Same with all these departments. So what that looks like now with a client computer. Let me just open up another remote desktop, and I believe it's station 101, and I'll just log in as me. Okay, and yeah, welcome to the domain here. So let me just close down the file server. And yeah, when you remote desktop, it doesn't show the background here of the Windows theme, but if you do really want it, you can hit personalize. It's kind of backwards. I don't know why they really do this, but you can hit classic and then go back to Windows 7 basic, and now you'll get the background. But anyways, now you can go to your start menu, computer, and I'll see my two drives here. So on my personal drive, which is on my file, which is this computer here, as you can see, it's 40 gigs, but I'm only allowed 500 megabytes. That's because within, whoops, I just opened Windows Server Backup. Within File Server Resource Manager, which is a role you can install on a Windows Server 2008, and that's pretty much, you can set up your file quotas with that and keep track of it, so that when this user here reaches 85% of this 500 megabytes, you know, he'll get a warning. Like, you can even have it set up that it'll send an email to an administrator. So it's pretty robust in that way. And I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, I'm kind of getting carried away. I originally wanted to show you how to set up your network for IP address, so I'll get back to that in a second. But anyways, this is my my quota limit here. So 500 megabytes, it's a hard quota. So that means at 500 megabytes, it will stop them from, you know, saving to their personal drive. Soft quota is just, it's good for like monitoring. If an administrator wants to like monitor and see who's saving what where, well, a soft, it'll determine, you know, what's your file size is, and then when you start saving over it, it'll start logging like who's saving what and whatnot. But anyways, enough with the file server, enough with this user. Just wanted to show you that, you know, the network is working. Like, I'm getting group policies, everything's working, everyone's talking to each other. So on my domain controller here, which is this guy, oh yeah, so close this. So what I did to install server or DHCP, because if you just did the router, like what I did with the router there on the with the web browser, then you would be able to go into your network sharing, you know, change adapter settings. You would be able to click on this and then go into your properties of your TCP IP version 4, and then you would be able to give yourself an IP address, whatever you wanted to. It would work, and you would still get internet. Everything would be okay. But in my case, I just wanted to go a little step further and, you know, create a DHCP server. So all I did is under Server Manager, it gives you a list of all your roles and services you have installed. I just went to the role summary, add roles, you know, click next, click DHCP server, and then next my way through everything. It's a pretty standard procedure. And then once it's installed, you're just going to get a blank DHCP console. So you'll have to activate your server, and it'll just be default. And then you're gonna go down. You're gonna go to your IP version 4, and you'll set up your scope while you install DHCP server, but it'll be pretty straightforward. But I just want to explain to you a couple things that you will come across that maybe you might be a little fuzzy on or whatnot. But your scope options, okay, this is the main part of DHCP server, really. So your scope is, this is pretty much the scope. So this network 10.10.10.0, anybody who enters that network or my home network will receive IP addresses based upon this. And then your address pool, so I've created a pool, so 50 and then to 100. And then you can set reservations. So I have a reservation because it is the 10.10.10.0 network, so I can set up a different reservation other than the pool here. It starts at 50. And you do this by MAC address. So you'd go to new reservation, and then you can put like, I don't know, Exchange server if you wanted to. And then you can give it an IP address. Okay, and then MAC address, you would just go to the computer. Okay, and you could do like, give me a second there, you can open up your command prompt and go ipconfig-all. And then your MAC address is what's referred to as your physical address, so this right here. So this would be my MAC address. So I'd just enter in these digits and these alphabets here. And then as soon as this computer came onto the network, it would receive this IP address. Even if it was already on the network, you can do an IP config/release, then /renew, and you'll get this IP address that you've set up. So that's how you do a reservation. And your scope option, this is where you configure your router. So you can go right click, configure options. But for here I'm just going to show you. So the scope options, so anybody coming on to 10.10.10.0 will receive these settings in their in their IP settings. Not their IP address, but just their settings, like what their default gateway will be. So their default gateway will be 10.10.10.1. So that will point to this so they can have the internet. Their DNS servers. This is my server. 10.10.10.12 is my server. And then 8.8.8.8 is Google's server. And then DNS name. DNS domain name is, my domain name. So techknowledge.com. And that's that. And that's how you set it up. And you can do all that through the wizard, or you can just, say I'll do it after, and then you can come down here to scope options, right click, configure options, and then right here you just scroll down this list. You can set up a whole bunch of, you can go to the time server so that all your machines have the same time, because if you are, out of sync, then you can lose connection with your network. So you just put the little check mark there, and then you enter in the server name and the IP address. See, for router, I just entered in the IP address. I want to add 10.10.10.1. I just did it here, clicked add, it drops down, hit apply. And yeah, that's about it. So that's the network in a nutshell, really. So if you want to kind of set yourself up, and what I did to install these versions of Microsoft is I just went online and got a evaluation copy with a 180-day free key. So yeah, I hope this kind of cleared things up for you, and it'd be great if you can set up your network, and you can follow along, because I do have a pretty cool little setup that we're going to be doing. We're going to be users and the groups and everything, and we'll do everything, all of our testing with this PC here. Got my shares, I can access everything. My personal drive, I'm able to save, so everything's good to go. It's working. DHCP, DNS, everything's working. So I hope you can join me back. All right, see ya.